The combined of chess hunt were unusually articulate and determined. They succeeded in raising a counter petition to Parliament, and as a result of their pressure, common rights were taken into account in the Enclosure Award. But the tone of such a letter as this reminds one that enclosure must be seen within the total situation of power and deference in the countryside. Men, in the social and cultural station of the authors of such letters, could only, in the most exceptional circumstances, and with the advice of some men of education and substance, have had recourse to the costly and procrastinating procedures of an alien culture and an alien power. The fatalism of the cottager in the face of this ever present power, and the uneven, piecemeal incidents of enclosure, when the enclosure of neighboring villages might be separated by the passage of several decades, go some way towards explaining the seeming passivity of the victims. Even so, this passivity may be overstated. There has been little research into the actual responses of the poor to enclosure, and such research presents peculiar difficulties, being concerned with the illiterate and the inarticulate enduring distinct experiences in hundreds of different villages over many decades. Enclosure riots, the breaking of fences, threatening letters, arson, were more common than some agrarian historians suppose. But a reason for the very patchy character of resistance by the poor may be found in the divisions within the poor themselves. We might find a clue in a later passage of the letter of the combined of Cheshunt. We cannot but say that there is plenty of room for alterations, for we cannot see why that Raskins and a few more of them should run our common over while there is no room for another to put anything on. If thou hadst made an alteration in the rights of commoning, thou, instead of being contemptible, would thy name been as odoriferous ointment poured forth to us? The voice of us and the magor part of the parish is for a regulation of commons rights. There is evidence at the end of the 18th century of increasing pressure on the commons and of an overstocking not only by squatters and cottagers but also by large graziers like that Raskins. In such a context, the dividing lines between the interests of the very small proprietor and the poor cottager became of critical importance. The small proprietor was interested in the strictest stinting and regulation of common rights. It was in the interest of the cottager or squatter that a more lax definition of custom should prevail. The eyes of the small proprietor, like those of any peasant in any age and country, might glitter at the short term prospect of outright proprietorship, even the 4 or 5 acres which enclosure might bring. But the cottager, without any proprietary rights by enclosure, lost all. In the long run, the gains of the small proprietors might prove to be illusory, but the illusion was sustained during the high price years of the French wars. Indeed, both of the major objects of the operation, more food and higher rents, were attained throughout the wars. Rents rose very markedly in areas of recent enclosure, and they were sustained both by higher prices and higher yields per acre. When prices fell in 1815, 1816, and in 1821, rents remained high or came down, as they always do, tardily, thereby spelling the ruin of many smallholders who had clung on to their few acre holdings gained from enclosure. High rents sustained extraordinary luxury and ostentatious expenditure among the landowners, while high prices nourished higher social pretensions, so much lamented by Cobbett among the farmers and their wives. This was the meridian for those country patriots whom Byron scorched in his Age of Bronze.